There you have it, EA's press conference from E3 2016. Welcome back to IGN Live. I'm Damon Hatfield, joined by Daniel Krupa,
Hey.
Miranda Sanchez,
Hello.
Brandon Tyrell.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do we think of the show?
Good. I mean, they touched off on everything that I
Good
thought
show,
they would want to talk about.
Yeah.
Some really exciting stuff with Titanfall, some really exciting stuff with
Yeah.
Battlefield that did it for me,
Yeah.
and of course Mass Effect.
I think Titanfall was the most exciting thing because we got so much information about it. But then there's a lot of times when they just kind of touched on information
Yeah.
and backed off.
Yeah,
It's, like,
it's some of the stuff we said in the pre-show is like we
Yeah.
don't want to see people at drawing boards, and then
Yeah.
the sizzle reel of the Star Wars
Two
show.
separate
Just
The
sizzle
gap
reels.
with the man at the drawing board. But there was lots of little tidbits in there.
We'll start unpacking everything. Viewers at home, if you have questions or comments about the EA show you just saw, just tweet them at IGN with hashtag E3 2016. We'll share them live on the show in just a little bit. But let's start with Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
That single-player trailer leaked out before the conference. That was already cool. But then they showed more multiplayer gameplay, which looked awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Hopefully we'll
I'm
bring
so
up
excited.
that trailer here in just a moment. But yeah, those like zip lines or
The
grappling
grappling
hooks they were
hooks are
using.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like they
Yes.
added abilities to pilots now.
Yes.
Which, I mean, we talked a little bit in the pre-show about how pilots might have perks or new abilities, but these are activatable abilities, grappling hooks, and some sort of gravity well that sucked people in, and all kinds of really
Yeah,
cool
it almost
stuff.
looked like it was a grenade and just pull people
Yeah.
in, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see. I mean, Titanfall was already like the most fluid, most maneuverable sort of shooter that I had ever played. And then you throw in things like grappling hooks, and you throw in like different ways to
It's
interact.
Also, things like your Titan throwing you, maybe?
Yeah, it's like possibilities. That's what we talked about beforehand. We wanted depth and choice, and if you've got customizable characters, suddenly the possibilities just multiply.
Yeah.
So it's a much richer experience, which is what we really wanted.
Right,
Yeah.
and just finding that perfect loadout for your play style too, because if you really paid attention, like there are a lot of different Titans that had different abilities. Like there's ones that have the swords, and there's one that has like a laser, and there's just so much potential there.
Yeah, and it seems like this time around, the Titans feel almost more anthropomorphic, like more human-like, you know? Where before they were these big, lumbering giants, and
They
the
were
little
tools.
Yeah,
Yeah, they weren't characters.
the little ones were like, more agile, but still very much a tool.
They even
now
say,
this,
like,
this
welcome
time they feel
back.
like they interact with each other in ways that are much more than just a tool.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. I wonder if you'll actually get to customize how your Titan interacts with you as well. Like I
select
said,
its personality.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
like you jumped in the Titan and said, "Welcome back," and it's like, "Oh, well, thank you."
It's like polite butler.
Yeah,
be
yeah.
back.
It's like, get back over here. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to see how they change the personalities, maybe between the different classes of Titans or something.
Yeah.
One of them just a sassy Titan AI.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fine line between a charismatic Titan and a Michael Bay transformer.
That's true. That's true.
We don't want that.
One really important detail that we didn't cover off on in our pre-show is that Titanfall 2 is coming to PS4.
That's right.
Yes.
The original was an Xbox
Yeah,
exclusive.
yeah. I think we all kind of took it for granted, but that's amazing. That's a whole nother group of people that are going to get to experience it. And regardless of what you would think about, whether or not Titanfall was a success or a failure, it was fun. Like it was just
absolutely.
The multiplayer was just a blast to play, and it's really cool that everyone now is going to get the same opportunity.
Also, like, compared to when the original Titanfall came out, install base is obviously higher. It's going to have the best chance to succeed in its life, whereas, going single platform early on, and it kind of faded away, where I think now it has a much better chance of finding that large community.
Yeah. This is the multiplayer footage that we're talking about with the zipline grappling hook things.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
see grappling hooks, and not only like to get you from the ground to an elevated position, but to swing. Like
Yeah.
you have momentum.
And-
You've also got what looked like a C4 pack earlier. Just lots of different cool little abilities.
Yeah, and with the grappling hook, you can even,
man.
at the end of this, they show
Oh,
you can pull people toward you.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
midair.
No, yeah, the fluidity with which you can go from like the ground to the air to inside a building to
Oh,
back out
jeez.
again.
Yeah, and then it looks like this thing here, this new laser weapon.
Absolutely. There's also like this weird kind of ground pound, like
Yes.
with a hammer. Oh, this part's so good, man.
Yeah. Titanfall 2, October 28th.
Yes.
I am prepared for Titanfall.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited to just spend all my time in Titanfall.
Now, what about Mass Effect?
Oh, Mass Effect.
Did you get the Mass Effect information you were looking for?
Yes.
No.
You did? Well, yes, no.
No,
Yes,
I
fight.
wanted more. We kind of get it's another just little tidbits, like little bits here and there, and that's
Yeah.
okay. They're gonna tell us more in fall. That's what they said. More in fall, which is all right. So now we have something to look forward to. But also, I just wanted more. I want to know more about who we're traveling with or who we are.
Yeah, we didn't get any specifics. It was more kind of tone setting and
Yes.
mapping out the ambition of Mass
Yeah.
Effect, which
So-
is always like exciting and laudable. And
Yeah.
what Mass Effect stands for is really cool to me. It's like what Star Trek was.
Yeah.
It's about going to another part of the universe. And I like the line in the trailer where it said, "You're the alien."
Yeah.
In
Yes.
this galaxy.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting for them to explore.
When she, hopefully the protagonist, wakes up.
It's
at
you can choose between.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the new Commander Shepard or FemShep, when she wakes up at the end of the trailer and says, "We made it," like at that point, it's like, wow, this is something that they've been working towards, and they're here, and now there's this huge galaxy to explore. And the reason I said this is what I wanted, as far as the information guy, I know it wasn't everything that you were looking for, but. Like we were talking about in the pre-show, Mass Effect now is just about exploration. It's about all these endless possibilities. Every star, and every planet around every star, and every town on every
Right.
planet around every star. That's what this trailer conveyed to me, is that sense of just wonder that's out there.
Right. And so at the beginning of the presentation, they said that they're trying to go find a new home. But like, what do you need a new home for? Like, why? And where
Yeah.
does this take place in relevance to the original trilogy? Because if this is like something that maybe coincides at the same time
Yeah.
and then just sets it apart completely different, like there's so many possibilities.
Had a very Battlestar Galactica feel to it almost.
Think so?
Yeah, a giant ship adrift in space, no home. Like, they are.
Yeah.
So one thing I really did pick up on this is that your new buddy is going to be a Krogan. Like because we've seen that Krogan before,
Yeah.
and then you saw him multiple times in this video.
Krogan friend confirmed.
So yes, Krogan friend, and of course the Asari.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
looked cute. She was kind of
After the wall.
baffled. Yeah.
But then they also really emphasize that there are going to be new species.
Yeah.
Since this is a
Yes.
new galaxy that we're exploring, so they're going to introduce some new species.
And we saw some big ones.
Yeah.
Looks scary.
Oh, the thing that was charging?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, what is the antagonist now?
Yeah. All the language in the segment was whole new. They kept stressing whole new,
Yes.
but also there's going to be continuity with the things you love. We haven't
Yeah.
scrapped everything.
Yeah.
So that's the balance with that, because there's very little you'll recognize. It's trying to give people a sense of familiarity and retaining what Mass Effect is, even though you're ditching a lot of the settings and main character.
It was peculiar because at the very end, it looked like an almost new citadel in a weird way. There's this big ship, as we're showing on screen, and that could be maybe what they're trying to achieve in Andromeda. Like maybe humanity's moved on, or like I guess a bunch of citadel races are moving on together with the Krogan and trying to find something
But
new.
this is like an arc.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
What,
so
that's what I took away from it as well.
Okay.
Like, that was their arc.
Yeah, it's like them. Maybe something is going on with the Milky Way, and they're just all trying to get out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of their quotes is, "They're giving us more freedom than we've ever given players in a BioWare game." That
Wow.
sounds
That's
very
saying something
interesting
as well.
to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from their RPG background, right? Like, what was the last BioWare RPG that you played?
Well, there's Dragon Age.
it was Dragon,
Inquisition.
it was Dragon Age Inquisition, which
Yeah.
was massive,
Yeah.
right? Every big playable zone. So, like, if it's larger in scale than that, I think we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. Maybe you just arrive in Andromeda, the new galaxy, and then it's kind of like, well,
Yeah,
what planet do you want to go to
time to
first?
set up.
What if it really is like the teaser trailer that we saw earlier, where he's just scrolling through and is like,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like a desert today.
Sure.
And then you go to the desert planet.
Yeah. And then they said they'll share more this fall.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was hoping for an actual trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
For it,
Keep
but
going. It's cool. I'm all right with not knowing the narrative. It seems cool, like a desperate mission for a new home.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the antagonist could be, because it literally,
I mean,
like,
it'd just be the environment.
Yeah,
It's just
that's-
trying
that-
to find.
how great would
home.
it be if like you just have to survive, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rebuild civilization. But I have a feeling someone's not happy with their arrival.
Oh, of course.
We have a question on Twitter. We can bring that up right now. This comes from Richard Carmen. I didn't see a release date for Mass Effect Andromeda. Do you think it will be released at all this year? No, they did already confirm that it has been pushed into early 2017.
Yeah.
I was hoping for at least for a release date for next year,
Yeah.
but we're still waiting on that.
I think it's always risky to put dates on these types of games, which
Yeah.
are incredibly ambitious, and
Right.
things will change, and
Especially,
you're setting yourself up.
It just got delayed,
Yeah.
like a couple weeks ago. And so putting a release date right after a delay is, like you said, not the wisest thing. 'cause
Yeah, it's tempting
something
fate,
went wrong,
yeah.
something could go wrong again.
Yeah. Another question from one of our Twitter fans says, for new fans, do you guys think Mass Effect Andromeda is a good starting point, never having played the other three?
Absolutely. It
And-
looks like they're totally trying to have that distance
Yeah.
from the original Mass Effect genre, but also keeping familiar things to like N7 and the Asari and the Krogan.
Yeah.
So I think you will absolutely be able to jump in just from what we've
That's
seen
what it
so
seems
far.
like, yeah, for sure. I think everything I'm hearing sounds really good. I'm a little bummed that we didn't get more because you wait all this time for E3 and
Sure.
you want this to be the big info dump, and then it's not really the info dump you're looking for. More
still got
information
something,
coming
at
this
least.
fall.
Yeah.
Gamescom.
There's Gamescom. There's Paris Games Week in October. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always are good events.
So we have something to look forward to.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. Right after this message, we'll be breaking down EA's press conference after this.
Aerial footage provided by Independence Day Resurgence in theaters June 24th.
Your father was the bravest man I've ever seen.
We all lost someone we love.
Oh my God. They're coming back.
Make no mistake, this is humanity's last stand.
We've got to remind them Earth is not for the taking.
Independence Day Resurgence.
Welcome back to IGN Live from E3 2016. We are breaking down EA's press conference. What about that Star Wars segment?
Man, lots of Star Wars.
Yeah. They've got the Star Wars license. They have
Yeah.
multiple studios working on multiple games.
Yeah, what I took away from that package was we've got loads of Star Wars games, and they're all of different types, all different types of genres. We'll have a Star Wars game for you. I don't think we got the information that we wanted on the Visceral game, but we got a little bit of target footage, and we got some artwork. And
There's a lot of pretty
tidbits,
pictures.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean-
But they said 2018 for the Visceral one, I think, and it'll be based on an original narrative.
Yeah, well, they sort of laid out the timeline. I was a little surprised to hear that we should expect a new Battlefront next year already.
Yeah.
Led by DICE in collaboration with Motive.
With Motive, yeah.
Which
And
is-
Motive was collaborating with a few of the
Yeah.
different studios with that as well. So I don't know
Yeah.
if they're a support team for all these different Star Wars experiences.
What will be interesting about Battlefront 2 is the inclusion of a story mode, which
Yeah.
obviously a lot of people decried the absence
is-
of in the original
It's, kind
Battlefront.
it's just
and
like
it came,
Titanfall.
It's
Yeah,
just
and
like
the
Titanfall.
And it came out recently on an investors call that they were working on a story mode for the first Battlefront, and they left it out at the last. Well,
to make
to make time.
make it in time for the new movie,
So
right?
that will be included in the sequel, which is what everyone wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jade Raymond's quote was, "They've been listening to players. They're adding more of what you want, including content from the new films." Which sounds
yeah.
cool. But I think that also means they're going to add that single-player campaign.
Yeah.
That fans have been asking for.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, what I got was, hey, we're working on a lot of Star Wars. You're going to love it all, but none of it's really ready just yet.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we did see the Bespin DLC for Battlefront.
Yes.
Lando Calrissian. I don't know if you noticed,
Yeah,
but
I did notice him in there.
spotted him in there as well. So yeah, that's coming, and it looks cool. For the rest of the stuff, I'm really interested to see. Visceral's thing looked cool, almost like a Wild West kind of setting.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds awesome, right? So 2018.
Yeah.
Man, they emphasize that they're giving us a new Star Wars story with new characters.
Right.
Yeah.
So at a different was Visceral the one that was at a different time period? Or was that
no,
Respawn?
then there's Respawn,
Yeah.
set in a
Right.
different Star Wars era that we haven't seen before.
Because the
That we haven't
Visceral,
seen
based on the
before.
footage that you saw in the package, there was like First Order banners that kind of look like Nazi banners
Yeah.
coming down the walls, and there's this character in the foreground in the trench coat. So it looks like it takes place around the time of the new films. But yeah, there was very little detail. But I did like the fact that they said that we're trying to create something new but familiar, and
Yeah.
they've got Doug Chang involved, who's
Yeah.
a VP at Lucas, and
Right.
has been
Absolutely.
art director on a lot of Star Wars projects, working on the prequels and obviously The Force Awakens. So it's nice they've got that consistency going into the game as well. This is the guy who's defined the look of Star
Yeah,
Wars for the last
exactly.
20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's working on that game. That's awesome.
But regarding that Respawn game, I wonder what that means, a different Star Wars era.
Especially because we saw mocap actors
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
there was a ton of that.
using lightsabers.
Yeah.
Sticks. But
Explain to you.
if
That's
you
what they
close
are,
your
they're
eyes and
sticks.
imagine,
Oh, no.
they're lightsabers. So it takes place in a time where,
Well, yeah,
Jedi are.
We've explored the world of the films, and we've also explored the past of the Star Wars universe in Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic. So I wonder where could this fall into?
future.
The future of Star Wars.
the new Republic.
Not so long ago.
Been there, done that already. Yeah.
We have a couple questions from Twitter we can pull up now. Remember, you can tweet your questions at IGN, hashtag E32016, just like Brian Hess did. Anyone else noticed during the Star Wars Battlefront behind the scenes, someone had a PSVR headset on.
Yes.
They did say they have some PSVR content coming to Battlefront.
Yeah. There was actually a lot of I think it's probably worth going through all that footage and pausing to see what people are on their computer screens, because I also saw what looked like a trench run, Death Star, so maybe that's future DLC
Maybe
as well.
that's future DLC.
But yeah, I did see the PlayStation VR headset. I'm sure they're working on something Star Wars related.
I actually noticed a trench run as well, and I looked at you right when it happened, and you were like staring.
I
up
love
at
a
the
trench
screen.
run.
Yeah, love a good trench run. I know. The Star Wars license is huge, and I'm sure they're trying to come at it from every angle, and PSVR makes total sense. So
Yeah. We have another question we can pull up too. Questions are tweeted at IGN, hashtag E32016. Don Murray asks, how do you feel about the 2018 release of Visceral Star Wars? 2018 does feel like a long ways off.
conflicted.
But we already are almost halfway through 2016.
Yeah,
So it's
that's true.
It'll come
Actually,
faster than you
year's
think.
halfway over.
Yeah.
Time flies. We were just speaking about this before the pre-show that we're seeing games get announced closer to their actual release dates, but. I think when you have a talent like Amy Hennig, with that pedigree behind her, and you have a Star Wars, you have a brand and a person, you have to put that out there.
If anything, it's just good to have on the map to know what
Yeah.
they're doing, know when we should expect it.
Yeah. I imagine you can't keep that a secret, but why would you want to?
I do have to admit, like, even though it was like another behind-the-scenes video, just like the music and like seeing the little glimpses
shot
of the
here.
world, like
Yeah.
totally like sort of stirs something within me. And I'm like, oh, I'm really excited about
Yeah.
all this stuff.
It was like watching, like you were saying, you want something new, but you want enough of the old to have it familiar, and that's sort of what you feel when you watch them. Like
That's what
they're in good hands.
That's what The Force Awakens did brilliantly, is blending that nostalgia, but also creating something new. As much as people say it kind of retreads New Hope, it found a really good balance. And if they're creating an entirely new original narrative, take as long as you need on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's
absolutely.
really high pressure
Like, we want it done
thing to
right.
do. Yeah.
Star Wars will be in our lives for the next several
Probably
decades.
forever.
Yeah,
probably.
So take as long as you need.
get
I
it
would
right.
I'd rather look back on my Star Wars life and see that story that came out of Visceral.
My Star
was a
Wars
great
life,
story.
the Brandon Tyrell story.
That's right.
And possibly
Subtitles.
just putting out there, why it needs to wait, why it gets given that date, is because we've got so much Star Wars across lots of different media.
Yeah.
Maybe it ties up in a way with a comic or a movie or a TV show that we
Right.
don't even know yet.
Oh, yeah, they have so much planned out already
Yeah.
that this could be something that ties in really far away.
I can't imagine that corkboard spider web
Oh
of
my
connections that go on at Disney.
Yeah, Rogue One is this December, and then Episode 8 is next December, 2017.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Battlefront. No, I'm sorry, Battlefield. Battlefield 1.
Yes.
There's a big multiplayer game going on right now, apparently. But hopefully you're watching this instead.
Welcome.
What do you guys think? How you feeling about this one?
Well,
now?
they dropped a Zeppelin on a European village.
So they're promising more destruction than ever in a Battlefield.
Yeah.
that
more-
scale's awesome.
Yeah,
It's
I
unbelievable.
think any reservations about the time period it being saying if it was going to be any less spectacular, that trailer kind of puts that to one side, because it's just crazy what happens in this trailer, and it's big and it's bombastic, and it's what you'd expect from a modern period set Battlefield.
Yeah. Let's break it apart, right? With the single player, multiplayer. That CGI trailer that is up on screen right now, showing a tank crew in there. It looks like maybe that was one of the characters that you're going to be playing. Who knows? But the single player is going to be really interesting, I think, for this game. And it's clear that they're actually taking their time to put the effort into it, right? To craft that single player story.
I'm excited for the horses.
Yep,
we saw
there are
more
horses.
horses.
Oh, of course, and there are horses. Yeah.
It
always
also
fun.
looks quite globe-trotting as well. They've got like
Yes.
European
Yeah, a lot of
locations,
different
rural
locations,
locations,
yeah.
desert,
The desert.
front lines.
I'm going to have to go back and brush up on World War I history just to see where these areas might be, like North Africa or But
Yeah, here it is.
this scene
Zeppelin
right here.
crash is pretty great.
Jeez.
You know what this actually reminded me of is
Oh, the humanity.
all the humanity. They didn't. Battlefield 2142, where you had those giant titans that sort of were acted as
Yeah.
a home base
Yeah.
for each side. The Zeppelins sort of reminded me of that. I wonder if we might be sort of revisiting some of those mechanics.
Yeah, taking the enemy team's Zeppelin could be
Yeah,
a
like take
objective.
it down. Yeah.
They're
That'd
also
be great.
promising dynamic weather this time out.
Yeah. So
That'll
that's interesting.
affect the play environment.
Sure. Like
Wonder
you
how
run
that'll-
slower when it starts raining because it's all muddy and no
Yeah.
man's land.
Yeah, I wonder if like which vehicles would be better in those environments too. If
Yeah,
like
you have
that
to adapt,
affects it.
yeah.
Like say like the horses, clogging through mud can't run as fast.
I hope we don't have to
Something.
relive the end of Warhorse.
Oh no.
Oh, man, yeah, no.
Bringing it down.
Not again.
I wonder
That's why
if it's windy, if like,
You have to put on a hat.
if gas like gets blown off the battlefield.
Okay, that's actually a good point, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
if it's windy, you
Don't
put
go
on
out
a
without a
jacket.
hat. In multiplayer, I'm not going to have you
customization.
embarrass me with no hat in multiplayer.
Yeah,
Catch a cold.
have your goggles on if you don't put them on.
Yeah.
Added disadvantage.
We have a question we can bring up from Twitter right now. This one comes from Elite Voodoo 1776. Do you hope to see a campaign in Battlefield 2017? If so, would you prefer an online or offline campaign? Don't understand the question.
Battlefront
Battlefield 2017 is what?
Do they mean the next Battlefront?
Do they
Maybe?
mean
Maybe the next,
I think they mean
Next
the next
Battlefront.
battle.
whichever following battlefield we have.
Battlefield or Battlefront?
Battlefront.
They must mean Battlefront
Yeah.
2017.
This is confusing.
Let's
isn't
answer
it?
both questions.
Here's
Yes
what
and
happened.
yes.
He meant Battlefront, but he typed Battlefield. So the person grabbing our Twitter questions chose that question for our Battlefield segment.
Okay.
But we can answer that
Let's
real
back
quick.
up.
I feel enlightened. We already addressed that, I think, because
Yeah, I think so.
they have said that they want to do a story mode. They couldn't squeeze it in the first time
Yeah,
round.
yeah.
And I think it'll be better for it because they'll have longer to work on it. They're getting more help and time. So there'll definitely be a story mode in the next Battlefront.
Yeah.
I said the right one, yeah?
Battle-
Yeah.
Hey, EA brought this on themselves.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's true.
They should have named their games more.
And they're releasing.
Distinctly.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
Exactly.
I totally agree. I think anytime you can get a battlefield. Doing it again.
Battlefront?
Anytime you can get a Star Wars narrative, whether it be Battlefront or Visceral's game or Respawn's game, anytime you get another story, you're always better for it.
Yeah.
I don't think we got any news on a multiplayer beta for Battlefield, did we?
Battlefield, I don't think so.
So I know
No.
one is supposed to be coming, and they might have announced the date for that, but I don't
Yeah.
think they did today.
Okay. Yeah.
If you have any more questions for EA's press conference, just tweet them at IGN with hashtag E3 2016. I'm being told we actually have one ready to go. That was fast.
What?
You guys type your questions real fast. This one comes from Etherrare. Do you think Battlefield will outsell Call of Duty this year? I don't know.
I think I'm definitely more interested.
Hard to guess.
So
those
far.
sales figures. Yeah.
I think I'm interested in the setting. Just going
Well-
back to World War One.
Yeah.
Anecdotally, there is a huge backlash against Call of Duty with that trailer, and then there's a lot of goodwill towards the Battlefield reveal.
Sure.
But Call of Duty is such a monster.
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
people
mean-
who
Absolutely.
don't
Get-
even pay attention to
Yeah.
stuff like this
Yeah.
know Call of Duty, they buy Call of Duty every year, and it's hard to overturn that, especially with what Battlefield's doing. Like, try and message it to those people and go, no, it's really interesting what they're doing. I think they're just so ingrained into buying
I think
Call of Duty.
yeah, there's absolutely space for both too. I mean, they're doing different things. That's always a conflict people have. It's just like, well, which one are you? It's like, well, they do very different things. You can always try both.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Why not both?
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
both?
if we have to, though, I'm going to do a hot take and say no. Call of Duty sells more.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to FIFA.
Daniel?
I think everyone. No, I think
We're actually
Miranda.
excited for
People wanna-
FIFA.
Yeah,
It's actually-
it's
it's
really-
actually a
it's
thing
really
to
It's
talk
got a
about.
cool sounding story mode, right?
Yeah, we're not here just going, oh, it's got better collision detection
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's
Better ball
basically a
handling.
single-player campaign
Yeah.
that has a branching storyline, dialogue options for
That's
post-match
so
interviews,
cool.
like Mass Effect, and it's built in Frostbite. The same
Yeah.
engine they use
Yeah.
for like Dragon Age and everything
Yeah.
else. So it's got this kind of mixture of soap opera, which modern sports essentially are soap opera for a lot of people. That's why people are interested in what happens off the pitch so much. I think
Yeah,
it's doing a
absolutely.
really good job of kind of conveying that.
Yeah, so one point I made is that, bringing it back to some of my other expertise with anime, is that there's so many popular sports anime because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
gets so personal.
Yeah.
Like the sport is still very important to it. and it's a big part of enjoying it. But the drama is so intriguing, and like having that in FIFA makes it infinitely more interesting.
Yeah, so I saw this a bit more about the journey, which is what they're calling the single-player mode a couple of weeks ago. So there's this fictional character called Alex Hunter, and you're trying to break through into the big time. And I saw the scene where he's been sent out on loan, his career's not doing so well. And yeah, it's in his room there that we're seeing right now at the training academy. And it was really depressing, but in a good way. It was melodramatic as well, and this coach came out and was like, it's okay, son, everyone goes out alone sometime. Even David Beckham went out on loan. And it's like a bit cheesy, but I think in a really good way, like a really good soap opera.
Yeah, when I was watching the trailer for this, it seemed like sort of like coming of age triumph against adversity sports movie that you would expect to see Hollywood make, right?
And it's what it actually translates into in terms of gameplay. When you play a match in this mode, it's like a regular game of FIFA, but the fictional character is highlighted on the pitch, and you have objectives to do. So if you make your debut for a team, if you impress the manager, you'll get extra points, which you can use and spend. And if your star is in the ascendancy, you'll get offered better sponsorship deals and things like that. You can get a better apartment and all these kind of branching storylines.
Yeah, similar to what they did with NBA, right? Yeah.
And I'm sure if this is successful, it'll come to like other sports games. It'll come to Madden.
I mean, sports games have flirted with career modes for ever. For a long
absolutely.
time. But it's interesting to see them take more of the cinematic approach. Like, it was what we were talking about this earlier. It was Spike Jones was doing.
Yes, he did the NBA one.
Yeah, he was doing the NBA one. So it's interesting to see that come to
The
FIFA
NBA,
as
what?
2K17 had 2K16 had a kind of story mode.
Yeah.
Right, but what Spike Jones was doing what specifically?
Spike Lee, sorry.
I'm sorry,
Spike Lee. I was going to say.
Yeah, Spike Lee directed it.
Spike.
No,
Yeah.
Spike.
You're the well-known Spike.
Yeah.
We have a question from Twitter we can bring up now. This one comes from our good friend Orlando Zalea. Do you think FIFA 17 story mode will be more successful and really bring something new to sports games than NBA 2K16 version?
It's hard to say because I didn't play the NBA 2K16. I've heard mixed reports on it. I think this brings an interesting talking point to FIFA. Like, it's significantly different. For people who always go, oh yeah, I bet nothing's changed this year. There's a cool thing for you to experience and play around with. I have no idea how deep it is, whether you'd want to replay it and you get very different like storylines, because I know early on you can choose to sign with a range of different Premier League teams. They make you different offers. So I don't know if they're all different storylines.
Yeah, it was similar to, we were making the correlation to like the WWE series, right? Where you create your own wrestler, and then if you lose a match, you know, it changes the storyline, and it's sort of dynamic like that. Yeah. But watching the trailer, it seems like he hits some low points. But if you win all your matches, does he hit a low point?
Like, do they force you to lose? Or maybe they have it so that your teammate messes everything up?
Yeah, and like how big is this, like a 14-hour thing, or is it something you can go through in a couple of hours as a film almost?
Yeah.
But,
I feel like if it's going to be multiple branches, they're going to be really short.
Yeah, and that's why they made such a fuss about bringing managers into it, because you have interactions with the managers. Like if you get sent off afterwards, you have to explain your actions through a conversation wheel.
Oh, okay.
It seems really smart. Someone like me, I don't follow football, but like this actually sounds interesting. So
absolutely.
I'm pleased that I've got you calling it football.
Yeah,
I tell you that as a personal thing.
One person at a time.
That's why I'm here this week, just to make sure.
Just convert.
Okay, good.
I assumed you would just correct me anyway if I didn't call it that. So. We have another question from Twitter we can bring up now. Remember, tweet your questions at IGN with hashtag E32016, just like Liam Jones did. Do you think we will see any new features brought back from previous FIFA games in FIFA 17, such as team creations?
I'm sure. With every iteration of FIFA, there's such a massive feature list, and they choose to talk about it at different points. With this announcement, they've obviously gone with the journey because it's such a kind of exciting new addition. I think we'll find more about those additional features over the coming months. You usually do another drop in a few months at Gamescom for Ultimate Team, possibly, but I think it'll be a while till we find out more.
All right, let's move on to the last announcement of EA's press conference. The only new game that was announced, I think, was Fee. It sounded like I keep hearing it pronounced different ways during the conference.
So sad and cute.
It's just spelled F-E, like as in Santa Fe, so we can go with that. This is a cool new indie game. This is this year's Unravel, I guess.
Yeah, we met our new Yarny, which is this adorable little polygonal fox thing.
Yep.
It's a little cub.
Yep.
It's a what?
It's a little cub. It's a baby.
A baby, yeah. It's cute.
It's kind of like a little fox baby.
Little flying fox baby.
Very cute, trying to bring song into this kind of world that's trying to be silenced, and it is just very pretty. And they said it was going to be scary.
Well.
But then again, at some point in this trailer, there's a bigger beast that throws something really hard.
Beats one of the
I could
enemies
absolutely see that.
against the ground.
Yeah, it is surprisingly brutal for what it is. It looks very cute.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It looks like audio plays a big point, and a lot of the creatures were sort of, see this manta ray thing right now, a lot of the creatures were seemingly screaming at each other. And you saw these big sort of hexagons of audio emanate from
Projected,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, so the animals of the forest communicate with song. This evil forest, the silent ones are moving through the forest, trying to silence everything.
And I like how the color scheme sort of,
It's very
it
cold.
starts dark and cold.
Yeah.
And normally we'd
here we go.
Here's where it
There.
gets brutal. Normally we'd associate that with like darkness or evil or negative, but in this it seems to be good. And then when the others are on screen, it's very warm and orange.
It's very interesting to see. I think if anything, I'm most disappointed that we didn't see a plush.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
where
know.
was
was
the
an early
plush?
dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting they
Plush
referred
watch.
to it as an EA original. So
Yeah.
this
Well,
seems like the foundation of a project they're going to...
Yeah, a new initiative for
This
you.
seems very similar to what Microsoft is doing with ID at Xbox, right? Where they have a team or a project that curates those games out there and reaches out to up and coming developers to bring smaller things that, I mean, Fee or Faye or whatever it was wouldn't have never been on stage at E3 had EA not stepped in and selected them. So,
It's really cool. Justin Davis actually tweeted that we get to see Battlefields and this on the same stage. Like that's really great to see these diversity in games. And I really hope we get to see more EA originals doing more creative things like this.
Yeah, the sense of it I get is it's kind of a 3D platformer. It kind of reminded me, at first, just the visual style reminded me of Ori and the Blind Forest
Right.
a little bit.
It's very blue. They're both very blue.
Blue, purple game,
sort of this ethereal kind of feel to it, like dream-like fairy tale kind of thing. It's gorgeous, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It looked like sort of Metroidvania almost kind of thing where you go and you access stuff with different shouts and whatnot. And have other animals ferry you across the forest.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Make new friends.
Make new friends. And maybe romance.
Maybe.
Romance.
Fingers crossed for a romance. Can never have too much. That breaks down just about everything that EA talked about during their press conference, but we hope you'll stick with us today. We have many more announcements coming later on this afternoon. Should we bring up the schedule here before we break? We should take a look at everything that's coming up. Nope, we should not bring up the schedule. Just plan to spend the rest of your afternoon with us here at IGN Live.
Aerial footage provided by Independence Day Resurgence in theaters June 24th.
She has arrived. Who is she?
Our whole lives have built up to this moment. Now we've got to remind them Earth is not for the taking.
Independence Day Resurgence.
That is definitely bigger than the last one.
In theaters and IMAX 3D, June 24th.
Welcome back, everybody. IGN Live from E3 2016. So EA's press conference. Titanfall 2, Mass Effect Andromeda, bunch of Star Wars games, Battlefield 1, FIFA, quick update on Madden, and a new EA original, Fee. We should just
Fee. They
agree
said
on
Fee.
something. Okay. Until someone tells me otherwise, I'm going to say Fee. What do we think about the show overall? How was EA's performance this year?
Titanfall was so good. It's so good. I'm really excited.
Awesome.
I think the conference in general went well. I think they hit the beats that they needed to. They showed us what's coming. Hey, we still have Star Wars for you. Come back, see us again. They showed us what they're bringing out this year. They hit all their beats, and I I think they showed enough of what they needed to now, while saving enough to keep the sort of marketing train rolling later.
Yeah.
I think it's that tension what we talked about beforehand is E3 and you want that big info dump and sometimes it just can't happen. But I think they did a good job of messaging all the Star Wars games and I like the fact they said they're not just all going to be shooters. They're not all going to be adaptations of the film. We're going to have games that are in different genres, telling original stories. Some will intertwine with the movies. I think that's really cool that they're kind of ticking all those boxes and they're also taking their time doing it, which I don't mind with Star Wars.
Yeah. They gave us a lot of information on the games coming out this year. So Battlefield 1, Titanfall 2, and FIFA, right? And then the games that are coming out next year and beyond, they gave us little teasers of to whet our appetites.
Which is usually how it goes. That's par for the course, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
More information about the more immediate game. But yeah, I'm interested in seeing what happens with their Star Wars. Interested in seeing they're taking us places we've never been before, so that'd be nice.
I'm also actually pretty interested to see how their competitive program lines up with Titanfall and Battlefield.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Favorite game of the show? Titanfall 2?
Titanfall 2.
Oh, yeah.
FIFA?
Obviously FIFA, because I really want to play a ridiculous soap opera in which Jose Mourinho shouts at me.
Yeah, right. No, I got to say Titanfall 2 because I'm more of a single-player gamer, so adding single-player campaign to that.
But
model,
honorable mention, that Mass Effect.
Yes, of course.
Was so good.
It's really good too. We have some questions from Twitter we can bring up now. Remember, you can tweet your questions at IGN with hashtag E3 2016. Kirsten asks, what type of games do you want to come out of EA Originals? Yeah, we were talking about this is a new initiative for EA, helping smaller developers get their games made.
It's not a recognized type or genre, but just surprising games. I think that's the thing, because Faye is a little bit comparable to Unravel. You know, it says thoughtful.
We agreed.
What?
You and I made eye contact. It's Fee.
Is it Battle Fee?
Battle.
Oh no, because it's kind of this like ponderous platformer to do with like relationship to nature. There's a little kind of overlap with Unravel. But I imagine if they've started this imprint EA Originals, they're probably going out finding games now. So maybe in a couple of years' time at E3, we get a whole sizzle reel of like 5 different games that are coming.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. They're very creative and artistic, and they look very cute. But I would actually be interested in seeing them taking on maybe mystery games or puzzle games, and getting away a little bit more from platformers and seeing what else is out there. Of course, just anything is cool to see and support.
Like EA Prime has like the big AAA shooter covered, their sports games covered. So yeah, a little bit different things. I love a lot of indie game stuff like Enter the Gungeon, Rogue Legacy, Spelunky. If they can help sort of surface those gems that are out there, that'd be great.
FTL, roguelikes, stuff like that. I would love to see that. I like the personality. We were speaking about it on the pre-show. You know, it's these publishers have their tent poles, the games that pay the bills. So it's nice to see the personality come out in games like Unravel and Fee. I would love to see them take the Star Wars license and just give it to an indie. Just say, what can you make with it? That would be really interesting to me.
And then they come back and we go, we've made this, and Lucasfilm go, no.
Yeah, exactly. Just crush it. Anyway.
Sticking with Fee for just a moment, David writes in saying stealth was mentioned during Fee's presentation.
Yeah.
How do you see it coming into play based on the gameplay we've seen so far?
It looks like, I mean, anytime something made a sound, there were those emitting rings of audio. It looks like it's going to be sound-based, sneak around without making too much noise and whatnot.
And what if you could like curl up in a little ball, just hide, blend in with the environment? You know? That could be a thing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Like avoid the others, right?
Yeah.
They don't make a sound.
It seems like there's also, we saw in the trailer, just ways to distract others, like grabbing things in the environment and throwing them at stuff.
And it looks like you're going to be using, like this guy here, it looks like you're sort of reclaiming nature or purifying it. And then you're going to be using sort of nature to fight off, to ward off against whatever the threat is.
Yeah.
Let's bring up that next Twitter question here. This one comes from our good friend. His or her name
Our very good friend
is
just like.
Anyway.
Something nice.
There it is.
There it is. Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle.
Does Visceral working on Star Wars for the foreseeable future kill all hope of a Dead Space resurrection? I love Dead Space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't plan on seeing a new Dead Space game anytime soon.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I don't know if it kills all hope, but
Yeah.
I think it's probably smart to
At
bet
least
on.
from
It ties up Visceral doing it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they
Right.
can't give it to someone else or like develop it in conjunction with another developer, or they could just expand Visceral. So they
Yeah,
can
have
yeah,
another
I mean,
team. Make it
unless
fun.
Visceral's
Do
a
that.
two-team studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Star
There's been
Wars.
smaller studios that worked on multiple games. Look at From Software doing Bloodborne and Dark Souls side by side, and
Yeah.
nobody knew.
Yeah, no one knew at all.
Yeah.
Smart.
now, I'm just imagining a mature horror Star Wars game developed by Visceral.
How fantastic would that
By FromSoft.
I don't know if Disney would ever approve that or not.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I mean, like they've taken lengths to keep it sort of that whimsical, magical kind of feel to it. Like they abolished the Slave Leia costume and so some of the other housekeeping that they've done with the Star Wars brand. But something set in the Star Wars universe that is mature in tone and theme would be really, really welcome to this guy right here. I would love to play that.
I'm right there with you. Our friend Michael writes in to clarify, Fae means fairy in Swedish.
Sure it does.
And it's
Oh.
pronounced fee, but Fire Fae is okay too.
Okay.
Good. So we're all covered.
thank you.
It's fine.
Apparently we got all our bases covered. Remember, you can tweet your questions at IGN with hashtag E32016. We're going to be here all the rest of the afternoon and bring you all the latest news that's coming up. We've got the Bethesda conference coming up. We also have some game demos coming up on the show too. So I think, is that a new Twitter question, did you say, Zach? No, we're going to pull up the schedule right now, so you can plan out
ready.
the rest of your events for the rest of the afternoon. Coming up at 3 p.m. Pacific, we're going to have a demo of the next Walking Dead game, Walking Dead Season 3. At 4 p.m., we've got Up at Noon Live with Brian and Max. 5:30 p.m. Pacific today, we're going to have a big reveal for Mafia 3, big upcoming open world sandbox game. And at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, our Bethesda press conference coverage begins. So yeah, lots coming up this afternoon.
Full day.
And
Yeah,
then it's over. Then E3's over.
Yeah,
after
forever.
today.
And then we all go home.
Right. Nope. We're going to be live streaming back again bright and early tomorrow morning. So I think that pretty much wraps up everything from the EA conference today. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Miranda. Thank you, Brandon.
you.
Thank you.
My name is Damon. We're going to take a quick break, but then when we come back, we have lots more streams, game information, and presentations to bring you later on this afternoon. So we'll see you soon.